This is Coach Lee, and in this video, I'm going to talk to you about the selfish ex. Take a quick second and click the subscribe button below so that you can be notified when I have more content that's helpful to your situation. A lot of times after a breakup, your ex will still be in contact with you, which is very confusing for many people. They might keep texting you, emailing you, calling you, and you're trying to figure out, do they want to get back together? Because that's where your focus is. And it's also because they have the power since they were the one who broke up with you. So I'm going to share with you types of selfish exes, what you can do about it, if you should try to get back together with them, and how that works. So sometimes an ex after a breakup, they've broken up with you, they can lean on you because they realize they don't want to get rid of you. They don't want you out of their life. And so they want that companionship. They want that connection. They might want the sex. They might want the hanging out, the going for walks, just not being alone at certain times of the day or week. And so while they have broken up with you, they still want to be around you. Now, just because your ex is doing these things, it does not mean that your ex is a selfish ex. And even if your ex is selfish, we're all imperfect people. We all have the tendency at times to be selfish. And so this doesn't mean that you should just write this person out of your life, and that once you've discovered that you have a selfish ex, that you should never be involved with them, never take them back, not try to get them back. That's not what I'm saying. This is not so you can say, aha, I have a selfish ex. I didn't know. I'm going to go make sure that they're never in my life, and I'm going to tell them how it is, and I'm going to block their number. That's not what I'm suggesting you do. So another thing that a selfish ex might do is they might expect you to be there for them, but then they might not be there in return. And this is the worst kind of selfish ex. They want you to respond to their texts really quickly. They want you to answer their calls. They want you to go out to a movie with them or go have lunch with them or hang out or be there for sex. But if it flips around, when you text them, they're not in a hurry to respond, they don't answer your calls, or they're inconsistent, they're too busy to hang out, or they don't think sex with you is a good idea. I'll get more onto that topic, the topic of should you have sex with your ex, in this video and also in a future video. But for now, let's just move on with things about the selfish ex, and I'll get back to that a little bit later. Take a quick second and click the subscribe button below so that you can be notified when I have more content like this. And it does encourage me. A selfish ex also might have different rules on dating. So it's perfectly okay for them to go out with other people, on dates, go to movies, be romantic, maybe kiss people, sleep with them, who knows. But if you ever do it, that's when there's a problem. And I still recall a coaching call where a guy had a girl who was still contacting him, still involved in his life, and she was dating 2 or 3 guys. He wasn't really one of them. She just kept in contact with him. And he started dating this woman. They would go out here and there, and the other woman found out about it. His ex found out about it. And she was really upset, just furious. And this is why we're not dating and that kind of thing. Just totally in this land of double standards, just totally oblivious, totally out of touch with the real world and how what's fair for one should be fair for the other. And I told him that. And we worked on a solution to figure out if she was too selfish or if she had character flaws and that kind of thing that he could not deal with and didn't want to deal with. And that, in my opinion, is one of the worst types of selfish exes. But basically, a selfish ex can want the breakup while at the same time not wanting to have to experience the consequences of the breakup. And if you've seen many or even a few of my videos, I usually talk about consequences and how important it is that people experience them. So what can you do about a selfish ex? Well, the first thing to do about a selfish ex is to organically develop your life and your relationships, your friendships, so that you will have legitimate reasons to say no as well. In other words, you should be able to say no to them sometimes too. If they're treating it as though you should always be ready for when they want to do something, but they can just do whatever and say no and not make you a priority, not make any sacrifices, not do anything that's difficult so that they can be around you, that's where you have to draw a line and you have to show them that you will do the same thing. Now, you should not express it to them. In other words, you shouldn't say, no, I can't have coffee today because you didn't have coffee with me last week. That's where you're only going to have a negative response. They are going to justify their own actions because, as you've heard me say in other videos, people will find justification for what they do, but they will be critical of when you do it. And so there's really just no point in getting involved in that. Sure, you might be able to make a point with them, but at this point, if you're wanting to re-attract them, then you don't gain anything by doing this. So don't point it out. It's more powerful to show them anyway. So plan things to do with your friends so that you can be honest with them, so that you can say, I can't go to a movie Friday because I've already got plans with a group of friends. And hey, they might invite themselves along. Sure, come on. It just needs to be the case that they see you have a life, you have friendship, you are social, and that you're not just sitting around. That also helps them see that you're not going to sit around and wait on them forever. So that even though you two are interacting and people are afraid of the friend zone, you're afraid of violating no contact. And of course, this situation is where this person is reaching out to you and you're not ignoring them, because I've told you in other videos, don't ignore your ex when they reach out if you want them back, because they will just stop reaching out and you won't get them back. But situations happen where this other person breaks up with you but keeps interacting with you. And so no contact is more of limited contact, where you don't initiate as much, which I'm going to get into a little bit more, and also to where you simply show some reservation, but you do still have them as a part of your life. And it's a little bit trickier, and some people will just try to get out of it and be in 100% no contact. But I can tell you that when the other person's reaching out to you, there's a reason they're reaching out. It may not be perfect yet. They may not be to that point where they say, I 100% want you back, want to get back together, want to call ourselves boyfriend and girlfriend again. They may not be to that point yet. But if they're moving your direction, they see a role for you in their life. They want you in their life. They see that you matter. That's a good thing. You can use that momentum. And that's where when your ex reaches out and you just ignore them, you're killing the momentum. They're moving towards you and you are literally not even giving them any direction. You're not allowing them to move towards you. And so you're actually hurting your own efforts. So the topic of sex often comes up. People will say, well, should I have sex with my ex? Sometimes people want to know if they should accept friends with benefits with their ex. So while I'm not saying that this is a simple topic, what I will tell you is that if you want to have sex with your ex, if you still feel that connection, you miss that connection, and within you there's the desire to do that, do it. It's your call. Sex should not be used as a strategy. You shouldn't say, well, I'm going to withhold sex so that they will want to get back together with me so that we can have sex. Because most likely, when you two first started dating, you may not have been using the love word yet. You may not have been talking about marriage or the future. You may not have been as serious as you were before the breakup, but sex probably happened. In today's world, sex probably happened. You two were having sex. And that was something that you felt getting the two of you even closer together. It was something that advanced you as a couple, because sex is like a hug on steroids. It's an amazing way to communicate love and passion for another person, and it helps you to grow together. It develops your relationship. And so while obviously sex is a complex topic, there are moral issues involved, you make your own decisions. I'm just saying, if you were already having sex with this person and they're wanting to and you want to, then there's not a fundamental strategic flaw with having sex with them. You're not going to miss your chance or make it where your chances are lower of getting them back if you have sex with them. So if you want to, go for it. As a matter of fact, it can be a very good thing for the two of you, especially if they're moving towards you and thinking they might want to get back together. It can be something that ushers you forward with this person. But that is a trait of what I would call a selfish ex, is that, hey, we're broken up, but let's still have sex. And again, it's not always a negative. So make your own decision on that. Take a quick second and click the subscribe button below so that you can be notified when I have more content like this. I touched on this earlier, but should you point out double standards? You probably should, but you also need to be careful and selective, because you don't want to start unnecessary fights. You don't want to create negativity that doesn't have to exist between the two of you. You also don't want to sound like you have ulterior motives, which can happen if you start pointing out every double standard. And what I mean by double standard is if they expect you to go with them to the movies one Friday, but they seem to always be too busy for you. Now, you can point this out every now and then, but it should not be always pointed out because it will just lead to bickering and fights. If you're playful about it, it doesn't look like you are talking badly about yourself. It doesn't look like you're degrading yourself. You could say, you must not like movies about, and then name that topic about the movie that they didn't go see with you. And they'll say, what do you mean? You can say, well, because you asked me to go to the movies and I went, but then when I asked you to go see this movie, you didn't go. So you must not like movies about whatever. It's a playful way. It's a very friendly and light way of just kind of pointing it out. And sometimes people get the message. But the best way is simply to make sure that your life is so full that you will organically have a need to tell them no every now and then. They need to see that. But you also need to be flexible and go with them a lot because you do want this person back. You do want to have the opportunity to build the closeness back, to get closer, to reattract them, to keep the momentum going of them moving towards you. It's still possible to get this person back. So don't think that because they're interacting with you, that's somehow hurting you. It's actually a great opportunity. And the reasons that they are not fully getting back together with you right now are interesting, and there's a few of them. So first of all, it could be that they're taking you for granted. You have been a staple in their life, and that has given them comfort, which is usually a good thing. But sometimes people will use that without really knowing that they're doing it to want to see more of what's out there. Or because they have developed this false sense of reality that somehow they can actually have you and not have you at the same time. And usually those people are the fastest to react to no contact, to react to the consequences of a breakup, to miss you, to want to get back together, because they see your place in their life once you're not there. You don't know what you have until it's gone. And sometimes when people start taking you for granted, it doesn't take much for them to recognize that and to want you back in some capacity. And it might take time to get it to be completely where you want it, but at least it's moving in the right direction. They could be confused. Sometimes people go through things in life where they question everything and they look at things differently and they just don't know what they want or what they want for the future or what role they want you to play in their life. That doesn't mean that they don't want you. It doesn't mean that they don't care about you. It just means they're confused. And sometimes this is no fault of their own and they just need some time to figure it out, and they're just having this moment, this blip on the radar that has nothing to do with how they feel about you, because life can be difficult sometimes. And so sometimes a selfish ex can simply be confused. They could be brainwashed by society. You know, a lot of people that I speak with think that they have to break up with this person to better their career. Or they're told, well, you have to go away to this fancy college or you'll never amount to anything, so you need to break up with your girlfriend here in your hometown, go to college and forget about her and move on with your life, which doesn't make a lot of sense. And that's a matter of opinion to a lot of people, but I see breakups that just don't make sense, that are unnecessary to people who care about each other very much, because this other person is convinced by other people, sometimes parents, you have to go to this other foreign place in order to get this certain kind of education or career advancement, and to do that you have to break up with this person, which a lot of times people in that situation will be happy to for a while to be long distance and to visit and to still continue the relationship. But this other person will be talked into it a lot of times, and that can be sad. But that is also the reason for a selfish ex sometimes, is that they get in that situation and then they realize they miss you, they want you in their life, they see a place in their life for you, and they want you there, and they don't exactly know what to do. They could be going through a divorce. Sometimes people have been trying to get a divorce for years and they don't have any contact with their spouse, and they have got into another relationship, and then the divorce starts to really get to the final stages, and there can be legal reasons they have to stay away from you or break up with you. They could simply be trying to figure out life. They could be shocked by the seriousness of it all or the family pressures. And so that is another situation where don't do anything rash. Don't try to be someone who plays hardball. When they start making that movement back to you, don't kill that momentum. Trust it, embrace it, take things one day at a time. So a few bonus tips on just how to handle this situation. And by the way, take a look at the link in the description below to my emergency breakup kit. It's a powerful guide to helping you to get your ex back in this type of situation and in others. And also hit the subscribe button below. It's very important that you are continually educated and reminded of these things if you want your ex back, but also if you want success in relationships, because my videos are not just about breakups, but they're about attraction and relationship dynamics. So in this situation with a selfish ex, try to be at a point where they are initiating contact with you more than you are initiating contact with them. It doesn't have to be by much, it doesn't have to be just drastic, but if you're in a situation where the two of you are talking because they just keep reaching out, you want them to feel that they are doing a little more of the chasing, a little more of the initiating, making the effort a little bit more than you. Because again, we don't want them to be in the role of prize and you being the pursuer. We want that to be more balanced. Maybe even you become the prize and they the pursuer until the relationship is back to being stable and both of you are the prize and both of you are the pursuer. So you would use limited contact, which means you do give them some of that silence so that they do feel your absence, because that's very important, and you also let them being the one to make more of the effort. You also need to be open to moving on, and that may not be something you want to think about or to talk about right now, but just allow yourself every now and then, say, I'm going to think about it for 30 seconds and consider that you could move on. Just say, I could move on from this person. It is possible. That way, if they don't fully come back at some point, you will be planting the seeds and making it easier for you to actually do that. So it doesn't have to be much. You could just literally for 30 seconds think, I could move on. I could be happy with someone else. That could be a possibility, and I will handle it, and I will do well with whatever life throws at me. Just something as simple as that a few times a day. It's uncomfortable. You may not want to even think about a future without this person. It's okay. You can get right back to thinking about a future with this person. Just take 30 seconds. All you're doing is exercising. It's kind of like physical therapy in that you're making small movement with this injured part of you, and you are actually strengthening it. And so it can be really powerful over time that you allow yourself to say those words, even if it's just in your own head. So please click the like button below if you like this video, and hit the subscribe button. Take a look at my emergency breakup kit. The link is in the description below. This has been Coach Lee, and as always, thank you for watching.